Verse 18. Actually, if you don't want to read the first 5 books of the Bible, you just read Nehemiah chapter 9. You have a good summary. Everything is here. Verse 18. Even when they made a molded calf for themselves and said, "This is your God that brought you out of Egypt," and worked great provocations, yet in your manifold mercies you did not forsake them in the wilderness. Remember, Moses was up in the mountain, he came down, wow, they were having a disco party, man, around a calf. The pillar of the cloud did not depart from them by day to lead them on the road, nor the pillar of fire by night. This was God's goodness to them in the wilderness, to show them light and the way they should go. You also gave your good spirit to instruct them, and did not withhold your manna from their mouth, and gave them water for their thirst. 40 years you sustained them in the wilderness. They lacked nothing. Their clothes did not wear out, and their feet did not swell. This is God the provider. Now, their feet did not swell. It tells us that they were without disease. In the desert and so on, if their feet swell, that means they got sickness in them. And so it all goes down to the feet. You know, like even today, if you look at those people with heart problem, their feet swell. Okay? So, here it tells us, and their feet did not swell. What does it mean? It means they were not sick. Moreover, you gave them kingdoms and nations, and divided them into districts. So they took possession of the land of Sihon, the land of the king of Heshbon, and the land of Og, king of Bashan. You also multiplied their children as the stars of heaven, and brought them into the land which you had told their fathers to go in and possess. So the people went in and possessed the land. You subdued them. You subdued before them the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, and gave them into their hands with their kings and the people of the land, that they might do with them as they wish. And they took strong cities and a rich land flowing with milk and honey. Until today, when you go to Israel, you still see the olive trees and the pomegranates and the oranges and all flowing with milk and honey. And possess houses full of all goods, cisterns already dug, vineyards, olive groves, and fruit trees in abundance. So they ate and were filled and grew fat, and delighted themselves in your great goodness. You see how good God was to them. Okay. Verse 26, nevertheless, that means what? Yet. Okay. Yet they were disobedient and rebelled against you. Cast your law behind their backs, and killed your prophets who testified against them, to turn them to yourself, and they worked great provocations. Therefore you delivered them into the hand of their enemies, who oppressed them. And in their time of trouble, when they cried to you, you heard from heaven, and according to your abundant mercies, you gave them deliverers who saved them. Who are these deliverers? Who are these? The judges. Remember the book of Judges? The people sinned. They turned away from God. So God allowed the enemies to come and conquer them. Then they suffered under the enemies. And then when they couldn't take it anymore, they cried out to God in repentance. And then God in His mercy sent judges. and rescued them and saved them and delivered them. And then they were good for a while. And then after that, it's merry-go-round again. Okay? It is a circus. Okay, you give them deliverers who save them from the hand of their enemies. But after they had rest, they again did evil before you. Therefore you left them in the hand of their enemies, so that they had dominion over them. Yet when they returned and cried out to you, you heard from heaven, and many times you delivered them according to your mercies. This is our God of many, many chances. And testified against them, that you might bring them back to your law. Yet they acted proudly and did not heed your commandments, but sinned against your judgments, which if a man does, he shall live by them. And they struck their shoulders, stiffened their necks, and would not hear. Yet for many years you had patience with them, long suffering, and testified against them by your spirit in your prophets. So God kept sending prophets to them to warn them and so on. Yet they would not listen. Therefore you gave them into the hand of the peoples of the lands. So who were they given to? The northern kingdom were given to Assyria. The southern kingdom given to Babylon. Nevertheless, in your great mercy, you did not utterly consume them nor forsake them. For you are God, gracious and merciful. Now therefore, our God, the great, the mighty and awesome God, who keeps covenant and mercy, do not let all the trouble seem small before you that has come upon us, our kings and our princes, our priests and our prophets, our fathers, and on all your people, from the days of the kings of Assyria until this day. However, you are just in all that has befallen us. You know what's the meaning of just? You are fair. Though the meaning of fair is not like just, but just to give you equivalent. You are fair. That means I got no complaints against you for all the punishment that you have done unto us. You know what? We deserve it. You were right, we were wrong. For you have dealt faithfully, but we have done wickedly. You were right, we were wrong. Neither our kings nor our princes, our priests nor our fathers have kept your law, nor heeded your commandments and your testimonies. This pointed to what? Bad leaders. And there were bad leaders during those days in the history of Israel, with which you testified against them. For they have not served you in their kingdom, or in the many good things that you gave them, or in the large and rich land which you set before them, nor did they turn from their wicked works. How sad. Here, so back to today. So as the author was writing, talking about the past, these people who the leaders who were confessing, doing the public confession, talking about the past, and so now comes to the present then. Here we are, servants today. Servants to who? Is it to God? No. They were servants to the rulers of the land. And who was having rule over the land now? Persia. Nehemiah was a cupbearer to who? Xerxes. He had to take leave to come down to rebuild the wall. Yeah, but he still eventually got to go back to Xerxes. He is still answerable. They were under the rule of the Medo-Persian Empire. And so they were servants, not to the King of Kings, but to the king of the land. And the land that you gave to our fathers, to eat its fruits and its bounties. Here we are, servants in it. And it yields much increase to the kings. The land which is rich has produced fruits, right? Very productive. But it's not for them. It was for the kings of the land. So that the kings of the land can have their feast. Set, right? God set apart that land, gave it to them for them. But in their disobedience, all this ended up for the kings. And it yields much increase to the kings you have set over us. So God permitted it to be so. Not that the Persian kings were great, but God set them over Israel. Why? Because of our sins. Also, they have dominion over our bodies and our cattle at their pleasure, and we are in great distress. This reminds me of when they were in Egypt, when they were slogging day and night, making bricks, and they were suffering and so on. And they cry out to God. And likewise, and we are in great distress. And when you say this to your heavenly Papa, your Abba Father, what do you think he'll do? Oh, chap. Is it? No, he will chap. Okay? He will turn to you. And so that's what they did. So from verse 4 to verse 37, it was the reflection. And now, we come to verse 38, the last verse. Rededication. Recommitment. Rededicating themselves to God. And how? This time, they want to make it in black and white. Okay? They want to 签名. And because of all this, we make a sure covenant and write it. They want commitment in writing. Our leaders, our Levites, and our priests seal it. In other words, this is their pledge to keep the covenant faithfully. And so my question to you is, what kind of covenant have you made with God? Do you mean business with Him? Because if you mean business with Him, He will mean business with you. No point going through all the confession and the crying and this and that and so on. But there is no change. The fact that we are here today is because we have turned away, we have repented from our own ways. But if there be any other area that needs to be corrected, well, it is a good day to make a recommitment, a rededication with Him, to Him. What kind of covenant have you made with God? That's chapter 9.